This is such a great crowd. We are here today to celebrate, honor, chat with Ms. Tori Amos. Let's just bring her out and get into it. Here she is. So we had a little change of plans because I think most of you have heard that Dolly Parton died today, and I know we're all devastated. So I guess we just want to take a second and just recognize that, honor that. I think it's great that we're all together when this happened, actually. But I wanted to hear from you, Tori, just if you wanted to say a couple words about what she meant to you.
Well, what a great artist like this, who's been part of our lives since we can remember, has passed. It's always a process to just realize that time is passing. And somebody great that affected most of us has now gone to her next plane, wherever that is.
Absolutely.
And it will affect everybody because she did so many things. I mean, I've been working with Penguin and I've learned of her book program.
Yes, the library program.
And just the gifts. So many quiet things she did for humanity. And easing pain and suffering for people. So such a great loss, but such a great life.
That's what we have to celebrate.
We celebrate her. Amazing.
And we're also here to celebrate you. Congratulations on the album. The tour has been incredible.
Well, thank you, because you all are making it so magical. It's really a magical time. It's funny, it's hard to describe, but when it's happening, you realize, okay, something's happening here. There's a magic, there's an energy force, and everybody contributes to it. And you just, I haven't had so much fun in such a long time.
I'm happy to hear that. That's great.
But you're a part of that, so thank you.
Well, Tori always sweats a little bit when she finds out she's going to get interviewed by me.
I know.
She said backstage, she was like, "Are you gonna? What are you at?" And I don't tell her, so
He doesn't tell me.
We're gonna get into it.
I need some Mexican cookies.
Buckle up, girls. Okay, so there's an improv that you played in Boston in 2007.
Oh.
And it's on the bootlegs, so people can go listen to it, but it doesn't have a title because it's not a real song, but it's called He Has a Well, You Have an Ocean. And it's one of people's favorite improvs that you've ever done, and it's like this fully fleshed song that you did. It's like 3 or 4 minutes long.
Okay.
And I wonder. Actually, I just saw the other day there's some guy online who remixes your songs, and he remixed that improv, like put beats on it. It was crazy. Anyway.
Well, he should really have the master, but anyway.
Okay.
But he doesn't. So.
Okay, but here's my question about that. When you come, sometimes you do an improv and it's about how like the light's not working or it's just something cute to get you through the moment.
Right.
But sometimes you come and you have these improvs that feel like they're actually fully fleshed songs, like that one. That's not arriving in real time, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's even that one.
That's in real time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it seems.
I mean, well, let's put it this way. It's kind of wow to me. That's why I'm unemployable. I can't do anything except this.
Right.
And so, I mean, Tash will say, we're in the kitchen or whatever at the beach house, and she'll go, "Oh my God, Peppy, why does Mommy have a broom in her hand? I'm terrified. Do something, take it away."
Right.
Mom, go write a song.
Yes.
So, not to digress, but these things that are coming now, for example, they're just coming. They're just coming to tell a story. They want to come right now to clarify.
Right, because you've been, for people who haven't seen the tour yet, maybe you're seeing it tonight, you've been doing these improvs, especially before like Climb, before Icicle.
That's true.
And they're pretty harrowing, I would say. There's some heavy shit in there.
Yes.
So
I started therapy again.
Okay. Which we love. I started it last year, I feel that. But it seems like you're also working through things in real time on the stage.
Sure. Yes, that's correct.
Talk to me about that.
Well, I don't know if we want to go into detail of the events.
We don't need to,
You know.
but just what the choice, I guess, for you to decide to get into some of that stuff through song, on stage, in real time.
Okay, I'm going to do a diversion for just a minute.
Okay.
Mary, her stroke was beyond horrible. And I think I'm going to give you facts. I believe that hospice should have been brought in. It was really beyond, she was paralyzed, she was trapped, and the hospital, they got a half person there. But we don't know how much was there. And whether it was almost vegetative state mixed with trapped and screaming, but my sister's a doctor, and she would say to me, "Sis, this is absolute suffering and cruelty." We had no power to bring in hospice. It was all Ed. And I think Ed could not let her go. I do not want to analyze that relationship.
Yeah.
That's not for me to do. And so, in order for us to have contact with Mary, we had no power. So Mary was kept alive for 2.5 years. Out of that, we were able to get care in. She had the best care once we got her out of a facility, which took 5 months just of negotiating with Ed, to get her back home. And then we had great care around the clock for Mary, which he agreed to. But he had to agree to all that.
Right.
So in that time, we always had a complicated relationship, but it became much more complicated.
Yeah.
Because Mary was my closest.
Yeah.
So that's no secret. So my sister, God bless her, stepped up as a doctor and really took the reins of the day-to-day. And that was a 2.5-year process, because Mary was hanging on, although she would try and climb out of the bed, and they'd have to tie her to the bed because she's trying to escape. And it's just, some of you know this, your own stories with the elders and dealing with the belligerents and what's happening. So, cut to, once Mary passed, we kept the care zone for Ed, and he lived his life, and I made sure that he was looked after, but there wasn't really a lot to bond with.
Right.
So now, once Ed did pass, and he lived, he was looked after very well and lived several years till 96. And my sister again was the one on board. I was more distant. And once he passed, I was able to then look at things, all the songs, what's really behind them through therapy. And I started therapy in 97, went till 2005 with a therapist, then started again in January 2023.
Wow.
So that's just where that is, and I'm working things out through song.
Okay, yeah. That's intense. There was something that you told me about in London when I saw you a couple months ago that I'd never heard. I don't know if anyone else knows this, but we had talked about some of this, and you said that Winter was actually written about your grandfather.
Mary's father, yes.
Not about your dad.
No, it was always about, really, but that was private, and it would have been hurtful to Ed if he had to hear that. So, you try and not hurt people, and why did it matter? Who's it about? I sang it to who I sang. I sing it to who I sing it to.
Exactly.
But Mary's father was the one that told me the stories. He was my nurturing person. And bless Ed's family. You know, he had to deal with a very puritanical mother, and I have empathy for that. I have empathy for that generation that didn't have therapy. You know, these people, they were 96 when Ed died last August. So that generation just didn't have the resources that we had. And unfortunately, they looked at therapy as there's something wrong with us. If we want to self-help and look at ourselves and make those changes. But the thing is, as most of us know, once you choose to do that work, I don't mean say you're going to do the work and then you keep up your same patterns and every month you're still, you know, doing the same kind of meltdown when the full moon comes. You know what I mean? If you really choose to do the work, I think the scary thing is you might make changes in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to make those changes because whatever, you know, you've got the house, you've got the Christmas celebrations, you've got the traditions, you've got all these things. And yet if you're not all growing, you know, want to grow and communicate, then there might be changes. So
yeah, it's
I can understand why people are afraid of it.
Absolutely. Thank you for all of that. That was beautiful. I want to switch gears radically.
That's the word.
There's another improv in 2007. You couldn't keep your mouth shut. You just blah, 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 blah. You were in Montreal. I think you have no idea I'm going to ask you this. You sang this song about how when you're around French-speaking people, you do crazy things. And you said that you went to Bora Bora and got a tattoo.
Yeah.
And no one has ever asked you about that I can find out. So, will you tell us, do you have a tattoo?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you can tell I'm a fan.
Well, I'll tell you, Kavita, my road husband, sees it every day.
Do you want to talk about the tattoo, or you just want to, is that where you want to leave it?
Well, there's a story around the tattoo.
Okay.
So, we were on our way to Australia. Tash, she was 7. Cody, my niece, who was turning 21, I believe at the time, she was on the tour. And she was with Auntie, T-Bird, they call me T-Bird. So she was with me and she's like, T-Bird, I want a tattoo for my 21st. And I said, we're away from your mother. Why are you doing this to me? And she said, come on, that's what aunties are for. So we were staying at a honeymoon resort, the 3 of us, and Tash would see naked people every morning and call them skippy divers. Look at this naked skippy divers. And I'm like, oh God, why am I doing this? So, cut to, there is a Marchese, I think is the name, artist that was guest residence on the mainland. And Cody found out about it. You know how people talk at the restaurant. And so it's like, there's an artist. And they know, you know, a beautiful 21-year-old blonde who's just looking around. Everybody's married. And she's just ready. You know, she's a wild horse ready to go. So we agree. I get the driver, that boat, blah, blah, blah. And then there we are at the tattoo place. And she looks at me and says, T-Bird, I can't go first. And it's my birthday. And Tash is like, Mommy, you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. So this Marchese artist shows me, you know, something beautiful like the elements. They could be the elements, they could be different penises. I have no idea. I don't know what my transcends. So with no Nurofen, Advil, so with nothing, early in the morning, and I'm not good in the morning, it's just, there I am, face down on the table, needles, going, Cody, man, happy fucking birthday.
I love that. Much respect to you. That is great. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about the new album. when we talked in April, I had told people that I sobbed to 23 Peaks. The first Tori song that ever has made me cry.
Okay.
And people didn't believe me. And then, because the album wasn't out yet, and then they heard it and everyone was like, oh, I get it. Like, people love that song. But I've been thinking about the journey from Shush to 23 Peaks.
Right.
And what I've been thinking about is Kate Bush's Hounds of Love album.
Sure.
The second half of it is the ninth wave, and it's about this woman. If you guys don't know, I think most of you probably know, but she falls overboard, spends the night at sea, and in the end, there were a lot of people when it came out torn, and they didn't know if the protagonist died or if she was rescued. And you can kind of read it both ways. And
Sure.
Kate finally came out and said, no, I think she was rescued, but the beauty of music is we get to decide, right?
Yeah, you get to decide on this.
I've been thinking the exact same thing about 23 Peaks because that song does not tell us what happens to that Tori.
No.
The dragons say, you can keep choosing to ask us to heal you, all these things.
Well, to ask us to take away the cutting wings.
Yes. But
because
they're just
they can't heal her.
They're just going to keep coming back, though, they
They're
say.
going to keep coming back.
And they say to her, you have to become the Dragon Queen. And that's where we're left. So I wondered, in your mind, do you have an ending to the album? Or does it change for you day by day? Or...
It changes.
Okay.
I'm in the unknown
Uh-huh.
with this record.
Yeah.
On every level in life, I'm in the unknown. And it's okay to be in the unknown. I was working alongside with the Master Merlin. I've talked about him for years. We'll get the information. He's channeled by a woman called Diana Summerland. And I think there's a website where he does group readings. He used to do one-on-one 35 years ago. And he was the one that told me when I started writing Crucify and this music, and I was being discouraged by the label and everybody else. He just said, this will create a little earthquake around the world. And so that's my connection with, and it was Ding. And I hadn't written that song yet, or many others that became part of it. But Merlin then had come back into my life to guide me through the Ancient Order of the Dragon. And many other things, Blue Lotus and the burning of the witches and the past life work. So along with the therapy, there has been a different, what would you say, a different way of awakening to things. So a different system.
Yeah.
And I trust that system because I've known it for 35 years. I've come in and out of that. I don't find it woo-woo. Merlin isn't that. But it is very much, it was very intense.
Yeah.
And so he would talk to me about the hauntings and the whisperings. And that I had to listen to the hauntings, which were pieces possibly of my consciousness that I had blocked, that I didn't want to look at because of the pain there, the grief, so much grief. And we had just finished the book tour when the album the songs started to take over my life. And I chose to stay at the beach house in Florida longer than I had planned. I knew that Matt Chamberlain and John Evans were coming to play in September. I really had nothing.
Right.
And Tash found these songs we've been working on together, which were Veins. That was the slit. And of multi-generational everything. And then she had snippets of Strawberry Moon and Stronger Together. And what that was it gave me the story of a mother-daughter and of a multi-generational story. And so they were little seeds, but Shush was the thing that started to come when people like you would get in touch with John Philip Chanel or whomever. There are all kinds of people in my think tank that send a lot of political, again, not off the beaten track, not tin hat stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of tin hat coming my way. I'm talking about people that are political journalists.
Yep.
And people like yourself that were sending me information about the powers behind the throne. I'm not really interested in the CEOs that they've put in to run the countries. I'm more interested in those and their motives and the cruelty behind what's not the first time it's happened, but what's the tyranny that's happening all around us. So that started to drive. Okay, I was being called to document what's happening now. Different than Scarlet's Walk, it's a different documentation.
Yeah.
You know, that was a different, as we know, time, and it's just different, but there's similarities.
Yeah, yeah. So interesting. I could hear you talk about this stuff.
I do need to tell you one thing. I know you have your questions, but just to clarify.
Yeah.
So Shush was coming. I knew that. Some of the amazing people over here were hearing it in its infant stages, Adam and Kavita and Jodes. It was very much just at the Busendorfer, but I knew that it had to be a much more collaborative thing with James and Bunks, because it just had to be. And that was simmering, and I knew we started the story there. I understood that. And then, believe it or not, I knew where we needed to go. I knew 23 Peaks was coming. And what you hear on the record with that is how it came. It was never sung before.
Yeah, I love that.
And it hasn't been sung since.
Right.
And when people ask me to sing it, I'm not doing that right now, because I want you to hear the channel. That is how it came. That was the message. I sang that live to Philly.
Yeah.
That is a lot. He just said, will you tell me the story? Where are we going?
Yeah.
We were in Cornwall. Mark had set something up, and you know, he left us alone. It was a late night, but the sun was still there, 9 o'clock, you know, summer in England.
Yeah.
About, I don't know, into June last year, and I just sang it to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be one of those songs in your career that, like Crucify, like Silent, I think that's going to be a song that people are always going to point to and say this is foundational to the story that you've told over the years. So, I mean, I still get chills when I hear it. I actually don't listen to it that much because it does make, it's almost like a me and a gun for me in a way.
I'm not listening to it.
Yeah, it's...
No, it was too much. This record almost killed me.
I believe that.
Well, I don't mean that. Transformed. And a lot of you have been on your transformative journey where it's painful. And grief is painful. And people that make decisions that you kind of hoped, well, I wish you would have chosen freedom for yourself. I wish you would have chosen that instead of, okay, I'm just gonna stay with the status quo and live my life because I like my house, and I'm not going to look at the things that are causing me pain, because that's the work, and there's grief there.
Yeah,
there just is.
Right, but that's how we grow.
And some of us choose not to grow.
Absolutely.
Some of us will choose not to do that in this lifetime, and I've had to take a step back and say, all I can do is choose for myself. I cannot choose anything for anybody else. And if I have expectation, that's my problem.
See, that is therapy in action, right there. I'm working on the same stuff. I feel that. Speaking of pain, I was talking to my friend Joe recently about this vampire album that you almost wrote. Again, I don't know if you ever remember this, but I have a quote from you. You wrote about it in Piece by Piece back in 2005. You said, I was really disappointed about not being able to go to Romania and do album research for this vampire album. I said to husband, who wasn't yet officially husband, that I really wanted to go and immerse myself in Vlad the Impaler. And he said, my dear, clearly you've already been impaled. But you didn't go and you made Choir Girl instead. But I wondered, you haven't really talked about that album. How far along were you? Were there any songs that you wrote? Some people think Give sounds like a vampire song.
Well, it's a little bit murky now. I got very sick. So the whole trip was planned with the great Ahmet Ertegun. And he was Turkish. and was very open to me as an artist. He was one of my great champions, although I didn't spend a lot of time with him. But he spent time with so many artists. You know, if you look him up, he was such a, oh my God, mentor. And so he supported me, and his wife was Romanian, and he was going to get me to Romania with bodyguards at the time, and really go into, I think, the Carpathian, I'm saying right, mountains, and find that journey, because we talked about it, and he was Turkish, and this was important for him to say, you do know that he was kidnapped as a young boy with his brother, I believe, by the Ottoman, or whatever, the Turkish army, and they were held prisoner, and it was believed seriously, violently abused over and over and over and over and over and over as 11-year-old boys. So that later, and this is a Turkish man telling me this, telling me the history, and he said, so if you're going to follow it, you need to understand that the vampire that he became when he would bring stakes and impale people, brutal deaths, there in Hungary, Romania, then he was coming through his incredible pain and grief, whatever triggered him to do that, why he chose certain people. But that myth, it wasn't just about some kind of, I don't know, salacious drinking blood.
Right.
It came out of such unbelievable grief and pain. Now that doesn't justify murdering all these people,
Right.
but I was really drawn to this story of how sometimes the victim is not that far from then perpetrating unless you deal with your pain.
We're seeing a theme here today, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But then what happened, and I'll make this quick, is I started hemorrhaging.
Right.
And I hemorrhaged for 28 days
Right.
In England, and escaped a doctor who was going to take one of my tubes.
Oh, wow.
And my sister heard it on the line, and I was set to go to a session that day to sing Siren.
Yeah.
And I did go sing Siren, bleeding.
Yeah.
And what happened is he was going to take my tube the next day, and my sister said, run for your life.
Wow.
So I did. I jumped on a plane and was picked up by an ambulance in DC, taken to the women's hospital there, where a doctor that had worked on me for endometriosis and just all kinds of cervical leaps, and I had so many things just because of my past. There were so many physical issues, and so I had a ruptured ovarian cyst, so they took it out, and I couldn't make the trip.
Right.
But so I was having a parallel bloodletting
So
when I was
crazy.
investigating Vlad.
Yeah, wow. Universe is a crazy place. One of my favorite bootlegs of yours is the Dewdrop in Boulder. You played 2 nights there.
Did I?
Yeah. It's coming up the 30th anniversary in November.
Okay.
I know, you know, these things mean, yeah, but anyways. I was
No,
talking,
it means something. If I remember all this, how am I going to write a song?
you could have. That's why we're here, exactly. I was talking to Shaggy though, and
Hi, Shaggy.
he's here somewhere, and we were saying that you should just release those 2 nights. And I know Mark is a busy guy and he doesn't want to do all the mastering, but I'm just putting that out there.
No, put it out there.
You
Put
know?
it in an email.
Yeah, I'll send it to
He and I will try and negotiate.
you. Yes, exactly. But anyways, before you played Marianne at that show, you talked about the year that you had spent getting to that point. And I just love this quote
What
so
year
much.
is this?
This is 96.
Oh.
Yeah. And so you said you had turned in Pele to the record label, and then you went to see them to find out what they thought. and you said, I had had some pizza and a nice glass of wine, and I was like, well, they'll meet the new girls, and I know it's a little dark, but everybody needs a good bottle of wine and some depressing songs once in a while. And then you said that you were met with just these faces by the record label. And I love that story because then you said the reason that the album succeeded was because of everyone.
Yes, the only reason.
Which is so beautiful.
The only reason.
But my question is, after that happened, did you have to do that again for Choir Girl, for Venus? Did you have to do that for Dragons, or did you say, I'm not doing that again?
No, things shifted. No.
Talk to me about that. How did it
So
happen?
that was called a listening, and I was really, really naive that night. What was I thinking? I was dealing with late 30s, 40s, nothing against that. But because I was 30s, but my point is these were executives.
Yep.
So when I walked in there, just how, like in my fairy self, which I don't let her out now at these events. She's here now, this is safe. But at those kinds of events with the suits, because what they're doing is they're calculating how much are we going to sell based on what's on the radio. And nothing on Pele was reminding them of anything that I had done from Pink or even Earthquakes, which was a big, for them to get Earthquakes was huge. But then they wanted that again. And so, but Pink they could stomach. Pele, they had no idea about this woman's journey. They had no idea about the anger with the patriarchy. They didn't understand harpsichord punk. They didn't understand anything about it. Now, why would I think that these guys would understand about harpsichord punk? That was a big problem. Not clever. So I should have warmed them up a little bit.
Yes.
Like really warmed them up and kind of taken them to Susie and the Banshees and get them to go, okay, we're going more here. Just give us some champagne, talk for weeks before they heard a note.
A little lube before you just go in.
Oh, God. And probably we should have done it in a studio with candles, maybe,
set the mood.
And not the whole fucking thing.
Right.
Selects.
Yes. Yes.
Just like selects.
Yeah.
But that was shocking because just to cut to, the press was divided on that record and they chose to take a stand. And in those days, before the internet, before you all could really be an army, which you are, thank heaven, but before all that, we were at the mercy of critics who would combat each other. And later on, they would tell me, some of them would actually pick a side, going, I'm going to get more attention if I write negatively about this artist. Yeah. And you see that all the time with a record, I can't remember, I'll figure it out, a record I really liked in the last year. And some critic just tore it to shreds. It's a big
Yeah. I mean, Pitchfork is notorious for doing that kind of thing. And then they come back 20 years later and say, I mean, I think they did it with Pele, maybe. And then now they're saying that they give it a 10, It's like,
But what the artist goes through at the time, it's really devastating. And I know there are a lot of artists here, so you know what that's like. But the critics in that way, yes, they hold power, but now it's the public that has been able to really have a voice. Yeah. So just to say that's the difference.
I love that. People, I bet you 80% of people in here have sent you a letter asking you to play songs. I've asked you for ATN. I think Mary Kirk, I don't know if she's here. She's been asking for Glory of the 80s for 10 years. People are like,
I know we have an arrangement.
But people are like, where's Dragon? But I would love for you to just talk about what it takes now. It's not just you at the piano. You can't just whip shit out.
I don't mean to treat you like you're naive, but you're being a little naive, my lovely ones. So this is not just a one-woman show now. I can't just segregate TA from now the band that has worked day and night on 80 songs. They came in cold. These young women came in cold. And Earl, world-class drummer, came in cold. So it's not like me, James, and Bonks, the old trio of 97. 98, and we have hundreds of songs under our belt. Yeah, it would take us 30 minutes to bring it up, but it would take us time.
Right.
However, this takes now with the arrangements, which I think everybody agrees, like the Virginia choral, what's happening is a transformation. That's just what's happening. And so as an artist, I can't stay the same. I just can't do it, or I'm rehashing. So I'm asking you to come with me. In a perfect world, we'd have a third leg. We'll see what happens. But if the point, it's all about the promoters, and if, as Mary Kirk knows, and if they're knocking, which maybe they're not, then we have several months to then bring a whole new.
Yeah.
Because the idea is we are recording every show.
Oh.
Of course, we're recording this, and I don't see it as just one LP, just because there's a journey, and I like odd numbers. Johnny's looking at me like, what the fuck?
You cannot be controlled. You can't be controlled.
It's exciting. Come on, don't you happy you nervous? It's exciting. So, but the whole thing is there has to be enough material, and so we'll see. But of course we want to work up things. We're excited to work up. We have Gloria Lee's arrangement, but the time to rehearse. Yeah. And not do it half-assed.
Yeah, you want it to be good.
It's got to be good.
Yeah, of course.
So, and some of these are really complicated.
Yeah.
Spark, Cruel, it's complicated. Tempest, yes, but it won't come before the end. It's a huge.
That's so complicated. Yeah, I think people recognize that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna do a couple more, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm enjoying this now.
I know you are. You have a show tonight.
I know.
You have a show tonight.
Yes.
One of the things I've been thinking about too is you and I have talked, you've talked in general a lot about menopause and what it means to be a woman of your age and going through that. And I think that's really powerful because most people aren't talking about that. But something that you haven't really talked about and most people don't talk about is sexuality, sensuality, sex at your age. And when I see you performing Shush on stage and you're licking the mic, or I hear you sing Pyrite and it's such a sexy song, you've never divorced that part from you either. But we don't hear women of your age talk about it, and you just do it. But I wonder, what are your thoughts about that at this point?
My thoughts are you have to be hot with yourself. And if you're waiting for somebody else to recognize it or to, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the act with another person. That's private. That's everybody's private, magical sensuality. I'm talking about a relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And your different chakras, and more than that, I think your emotional self, your mental self, your spiritual self, and your physical self. Now, the one that gets us, gets me, I should only speak for myself, is the physical side of this. Because yes, the mental side and emotional side, but HRT made a difference. Unfortunately, I waited long and suffered longer than I needed to. But you have to find the right combinations, because I've talked to women and they've had to try a couple times. It didn't quite work. So you've got to get your levels right. Testosterone, whatever they're called, estrogen. You've got to get them right and figure out what works for you. And then you tweak it if that's what you want to do. Some people don't want to walk down that road. That's your thing. But I found that it helped me. And then my relationship with myself started to change. I don't need for some fucking man to see that I'm hot.
Love that. Yes. Love it.
Right. But that's important. Or a woman, or what you're drawn to. I'm just saying it has to be a self-acceptance, and there's so much demoralizing because, you know, your ankles are swelling one day or this is happening, and there are physical changes for men too, menopause, and we have to be empathetic for that because sometimes we're meeting people around our age, whatever that is, that's just going through things.
Yeah.
And it sometimes feels so embarrassing because nobody talks about it,
Absolutely.
but it is like foundational stuff. Or that's why you're blue or depressed, or, you know, that can happen. That was happening on Ocean to Ocean. I was so blue.
Right.
But I didn't have the HRT yet. So I was able, with Dragons, at least I had the fuel, the pump, to be able to write this work because I had adjusted that.
Yes.
That's the main thing, is figuring that out. And it's not easy to figure out, guys. The medical system seems broken to me, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's thrilling to watch you on stage still go through it. The last question I have for you, and I warned her about this one a little bit. She doesn't know what it is, but there has been one question that has divided the Tori Amos community for 30 years. And I told you that you're not allowed to both decides this, so we just want an answer.
This is my pirate ship.
I know. But
I'm the lady pirate now.
I will walk the plank.
You might be.
In the 1996 hit single "Caught a Light Sneeze," you sing the lines "building, tumbling down."
Yes.
And people want to know, is the word building a noun or a verb?
Really?
Yeah. That is the most controversial question that surrounds you. I know, believe it or not. Yeah. And yeah.
Well, walk me through it.
Okay.
If it's a noun.
If it's a noun, then you're literally saying that a building is tumbling down. If it's a verb, then you're saying this thing built up and then tumbled down.
That's what happened.
Thank you. Team verb. There are people who have t-shirts that say like team noun or team verb. Like people have like ended relationships over this.
Okay, unless the building was
Nope. You said your piece. And
I
that's
was
what we're
going to
gonna
give
do.
you a really good quote.
Oh, let's hear it. Okay.
You know how some buildings have things like AT&T on them?
Yeah.
Well, if this building had I fucking in on it and it tumbled down, then the building.
One of these
But
days.
that's okay.
Yes.
No, all is good.
Yes.
It was just a little tricky time.
No, one of
But
these
all
days.
is good. We're good.
I've told you, one of these days we are going to do one of these and we are going to talk about some of that stuff.
No,
Okay.
everybody's good. Everybody's good. Everybody make good choices. Have happy families. Nice.
Love. Tori Amos, everybody.